Before we dive in, guys, in a quick disclaimer, I am Steele Poliziani, and All Things Health is here to share ideas and research, not medical advice. Please talk with your doctor before making any changes. This podcast doesn't claim to diagnose, treat, or cure or prevent illnesses. It's for education only. Welcome to episode 4, Cancer, What Can Be Done to Beat Cancer. I'd like to start off this talk with a couple of things to think about as we're unfolding the talk. We've heard that our bodies are mainly made up of water. Then this is so. So what's the role of water in our bodies? And what is the role of water in our bodies and our actual cells? And the second thing to think about, obviously we've heard through mainstream media and obviously doctors and so forth, that cancer feeds off sugars. But is this the only thing that it feeds off, or are there other components it uses to energize itself and multiply? So I want to start off the talk with how our bodies truly work, so then we can get a better understanding of how cancer works. So everyday life, me, myself as a person and yourself, we eat, we drink, we have an environment around us. And as I went through in the previous talks, the environment is very important. It might be negative. It might be due to chemicals and things around us. We can't see it. It's all building up around us. But it's also our emotions, either if it's good or bad, and also the connection with the earth. So this is the first step I would like you to think about as you're watching this, as yourself as a person. The second part is, we've heard of ATP, and ATP, as we've been told, is the currency, the energy that gives our body life. It gives our brain, our heart, our gut, and our cells the energy to do its job. That is correct. So as we do the first step, as we went through food, water we drink, people around us, toxins around us, environment, and our emotions, that creates ATP. That ATP then goes in, connects to our cell. Now our cell's like a closed book. So when that currency goes through and hits that book, it opens the book for the first time. As it unfolds the book, it also has another incredible component. Now, like Jell-O, you're probably thinking, what's Jell-O got to do with it? We love Jell-O. As young children, we grew up, our parents making us Jell-O. And as you remember, Jell-O, when you first see it, it's different colors, but the colors are not relevant. So we put it in some water and it's just liquid, and you're like, hey, it's really slushy liquid. It's got nothing to do and I don't enjoy it. But then we put heat into it, hot water, and it crystallizes and becomes Jell-O, and we wobble it and we love looking at it and we love eating it. The same thing is with ATP. As it hits the cell and the book opens, it affects the water in our bodies and forms a structured gel around and inside the cell, which gives it a positive and beautiful round shape. The next part is that tells the inside of the cells, the DNA, the letters that it wants to be told. So it's got a story. It's coming through, and let's say the letters are T, T-E-A. That's quite good. Tea party. This is an example. So it tells the letters to the DNA, and the DNA goes, okay. Then the DNA goes to the next step, to our genetics. It says, genetics, I have this word, T-E-A, tea. Carry forth that word, please. Then the genetics then carries out the word, and that's the outcome. So this is how everything really works. So what I'm getting at here, good environment, good food, good people, we have a connection with Mother Earth. ATP. ATP then works with the cell. It opens the book. Then that helps the water structure around the cell be beautiful and structured and inside and keeping the cell in a beautiful formation. But then that helps the DNA to read the letters that have been given to it. The DNA then says to the genetics, this is our word, tea. We're having a tea party. And then the genes carry it forth and we have health. Because let's just say tea party, it's excellent. So we're vibrant, we're feeling great, our cells are doing great. But if the environment, you're eating bad food, you're having bad water, unfortunately you've got a lot of negativity and bad influences around you, your emotions are low, you have no connection with Mother Earth, and there's a lot of toxicity, well, that's causing the ATP to then tell the book not to open or to open distortedly, but it's also, as that process happens, distorting the main part, the water around it, the jello that helps with everything of the cell to then print out the letters. And now let's say the letters are unfortunately deaf, D-E-A-T-H. Then that tells the genes, carry this forth please, I've presented these letters to you. And then the genes carry out their outcome, and that is cancer. So this is very important, and this I wanted to bring forth to you of how exactly our bodies work and how cancer truly becomes. So it's got nothing to do with genes. And I know like social media and doctors and so forth have put through, they're always looking for the next gene. The gene caused this, the gene caused breast cancer, the gene caused a tumor. The gene is not determining, it's the environment. And as I spoke through, that determines the total outcome. Environment, ATP, cell, water, DNA, the DNA spells the letters, the gene carries forth what it's been told by that letter structure, and that's the outcome. So I just want to get this put through. Genes are not at fault. They're only reading the letters given to them due to the sequence. So this is the most important part of the talk. And from here, we can move forward in a beautiful way so you can truly understand how you can beat cancer. And I'd also like to just put it out there. So this is our bodies. And our bodies, let's just say, as we had the last outcome, which was unfortunately a negative outcome, it spelt death. And then the cancer forms and it multiplies. But before this happens, it usually takes a very long time. It could be years upon years, it could be a decade, it could be a decade and a half, it could be 2 decades. But your body has been calling out to you slowly through time, I'm hurting. I can't sleep well. I feel sad. I've got an ache here. I've got an ache there. I can't go to the toilet properly. My energy's so low. I don't feel right. These are expressions of your whole body working together with you, saying, I need help. Please turn things around. So the cells, as we're born, and as we see beautiful newborn babies and they become young little children, they've always got great sparks in their eyes and they're vibrant and energy is just oozing from them and they laugh and they love life. That's because everything is running really well. The cells love life and their life. We're born with life bearing. So the cells, when they've reached the point that I've just discussed, we haven't been able to understand our bodies and do something about it. And we've been ignoring the path signals being given to us. Please help me. Please help me. Please do something. You've got to turn this around. I don't want the outcome to come. So what happens, the healthy cell is about to switch its lights off, turn the lights off, and it goes, I don't want to die. I really wanted you to turn around more than anything, but I don't want to die. I love to live. In its last desperate attempt to live, it switches itself to cancer before it perishes for good and becomes cancer. And then cancer then has a short life but can continue living for a short period of time. Otherwise, the cell completely dies off. And because it's hanging on for life, as all of us do, nobody wants to die. The same thing with your cells. They've called out to you and they've called out to you, and you just didn't know how to answer it. You didn't know what it was saying. You kept ignoring it, one pain after another. No, I got other things to do. I'm busy. That's what cancer is. It's a healthy cell that's about to lose its spark, and then it converts through what I explained into cancer, and then cancer becomes something new of its own, but it's very destructive, and it keeps living for a short period, but at least it's living. This is the key point I'm trying to put through to you. So a lot of people, and I'm not blaming you, I'm not saying you shouldn't, go and get chemotherapy. And chemotherapy is like an atomic bomb being let off on your body. It kills everything, including any good cells that you might have left, which will be at that stage, unfortunately, very low, but there are still some good ones. And they're like, we want to win this game. So then attacking your body with an atomic bomb after your body's been crying out to it for so long, please help me, is one of the cruelest things you can do to your body, because all it was asking all along was, please help me, we can spin this around. So there's been a lot of scientific facts, and one of them was by Dr. Zach Bush, that has worked with a lot of patients successfully. He's helped people recognize this pattern, and as the person's recognized the pattern and finally understood, I've got to do something to change my life here. I've got to do something emotionally. Maybe I've got toxic people around me. I've got to get rid of them. I've got to think more positive. Stop being so negative. I've got to eat good food. I've got to have good, clean water. I've got to have good sleep. I've got to connect with the earth. I've got to do earthing. It's so good for me. I've got to look at the sun. The sun has so much goodness by going into your eyes and regulating circadian rhythm and energizing your cells and so forth. When that person finally goes, I've been neglecting myself and my body for so long, and I want to do something, that positive thinking and that final connection with your body and your cells, the cells go, I hear you. I truly hear you for the first time. It's a little bit late, but I hear you. You want to spin things around. Thank you. We are one. And then the person doing this and connecting with themselves again and putting all the protocols I've spoken about, detoxifying, eating good food, cleaning the body out of all the toxins and putting good things in. Then what actually has been happening on a grand scale is the cancer cells themselves have gone, we don't need to be here anymore. We're actually switching ourselves off. And then the good cells are multiplying. But it's doing it by itself because it's a recognition. Cancer is a way of saying, please turn around. So I just wanted to bring this forth. If you decide to go with chemo, that is your own judgment. I'm not saying it's bad, but if you look at it this way now, you're going to see that it's actually a very, very sad thing to give your body another hit when all it's been saying is all along, please help. So this is the first part that I really want to emphasize so you can get your mind around. So then now we can put in protocols with things you've never heard about, things we can take away that if you have cancer, the cancer can no longer fuel itself on. And this is the next part we're going to go on to. To the next question I put into your minds and hearts at the beginning of the talk was, does cancer only use sugar, glucose? The answer is no. It also uses glutamine. It's an amino acid in our body. And another one, very unheard of, is fats, fatty acids, omega-6s. And also it uses cholesterol. So this is the next step. What do we need to cut out? And what natural products are out there that disrupt this intake from the cancer cells itself? So this is what I'm about to go into. We want to cut out these fatty acids, these fats, these omega-6s. So we don't want to have corn, soybean, sunflower or safflower. What natural things can we use also to disrupt the cancer using these processes? Well, we can use berberine, green tea, and curcumin. These are great disruptors so that the cancer can't use those fats to utilize it into more energy to produce more cancerous cells. The next thing, as we just spoke about, is cholesterol. So cancer uses cholesterol. What can we do to block that absorption? We can eat seeds, nuts, and vegetables, obviously organic. That blocks the absorption of cholesterol being used, but also reishi mushroom. It helps to block cholesterol being used and also attacks tumors. So this is a great and easy way that we can get rid of cholesterol being used to our disadvantage. The next thing I'd like to bring up is natural things around the world that actually blunted and put cancer to sleep and are the biggest heavy hitters you could ever think of. They're like bazookas. As I always say, we've seen movies, action-packed, and they got a big bazooka on their shoulder and the truck blows up. Well, this is exactly the same. So let's bring out the first one, melatonin. And you're going to go, what's melatonin got to do with cancer? So cancerous sufferers, unfortunately, as they get tested, and it's all in the same boat, their melatonin levels are really low. And you go, what's melatonin got to do with cancer? What's it going to do? It's a sleep thing. It helps us sleep. It doesn't just help us sleep. Melatonin, when it's at the right levels, is a night guardian. So when you're sleeping at night, it helps and protects, as a teacher, the good cells and says, go and play. Awesome, I love you here. But to the naughty children, which are cancerous, it goes, I don't want you here. Get out, time for you to leave. It's an actual guardian. So melatonin doesn't just live in the brain and help regulate sleep. Little people don't know about this, very minute. That melatonin actually in healthy individuals lives in your stomach, it lives in your heart, it lives in and around all of your cells, and it is a protector and destroyer of cancer and continually is doing that. But unfortunately, when your melatonin levels are very, very low, it's not going to be in your stomach, it's not going to be protecting your brain and helping with sleep. So it can't do its job. So it's pretty easy. We take melatonin. You can get it from iHerb. We start raising those levels of melatonin so it can do its school teacher job, invite the good, healthy children, the healthy cells in, the bad children, the cancer ones, out. Time for you to go. I'm forcing you to go. But it's not only verbally saying it, it's actually helping because melatonin is a free radical scavenger. And it's greater than glutathione. And most people don't know. They like glutathione is the master antioxidant. I can tell you now that melatonin is the next level up. So we get melatonin into us. We could start off just simply 3 to 5 milligrams, and then you can just go up. You can't overdose on melatonin. You can have 10 milligrams, and There's a doctor called Dr. John Lawrence. He uses melatonin to help, obviously, people with sleep, but also people fight cancer. And he has reported, and actually from his own company called mTOR, he has sleep formulas that range up to 400 to 450 milligrams of melatonin. And you're going to go, that's astronomical. But if we're fighting cancer, don't you want to absolutely kick its ass and get the good school teacher in, like Arnold Schwarzenegger? And like, I am in charge here. It's time for you to go, bad children, get out. So this is what I would recommend, and I'm so glad I brought you this incredible molecule, melatonin. The next big heavy hitter that will send cancer back to where it came from is not actually a product to say, but it's a procedure. I haven't covered it. I covered it briefly in my last 3 talks, but I'd like to cover this because this one is really one of the greats. It's colonics. And some people might feel a little bit uncomfortable thinking about colonics, but I do recommend a company in Australia that are pretty much based all around Australia. You can find it on their websites. It's called Bottom Up Colonics. The team there are great. The founder and the owner, Susie, went through her own things, and that's why she created this incredible colonics. It uses structured water, but also it's the way it's delivered. It's delivered pulsing the water with each practitioner knowing the person so well and how the body works, and filling up obviously your colon with water, but not to the level that you're super uncomfortable. And as it reaches that peak, he or she backs off and the drainage comes out. It works incredibly well instead of other colonics that kind of, in a sense, just blast water inside of you, and that's not the way to get the best results. So bottom-up colonics, they use structured water, the way they do it, but also I would recommend, if you are obviously suffering from cancer, please use coffee enema. They use the coffee enema at the beginning. So they'll put this inside of you, let it sit for a little bit, and it helps really to detoxify the colon on great levels. Coffee has incredible therapies, but internally it removes all the toxins and gets rid of all the bile waste that's been sitting there. It also helps detoxify the liver. But colon, if you've never ever done a detox or you've never ever cleansed yourself before, this is one of the big ones, because a lot of us aren't going to the toilet regularly, and we usually do. We have poo built up from a decade. So I recommend this. It gets rid of, and I've heard through customers that certain customers have reported, and through the world, that by using just colonics weekly for a 3 to 6 month regime, they have beaten cancer on its own. So this is quite remarkable. I'm not saying only use this if you have cancer, but I would put it as one of your itineraries. I would use it weekly. I would do it 3 to 6 months. You will see a great improvement. Your stomach will start feeling better. You remove all those toxins that have been in your body and absorbed through food, through water, and all the little bits that are right deep inside your colon. It's going to take a lot for a mouth colon cleanser just to blast it out. So this will remove it. Once it's removed, then your body can go back to harmony, or help it to go back to harmony. So please think of bottom-up colonics, and this is one of the big hitters to remove cancer. Next in the itinerary of getting rid of cancer is vitamin C. Vitamin C infusions. So obviously vitamin C in general is good for you. Orally is good, but getting it straight into your bloodstream is the next level. So I would really recommend vitamin C infusions, what do they do for the body? Well, they boost up our immune system greatly. They boost up white blood cells that produce natural killer cells that attack the tumours and shrink the tumours. And it also helps detoxify the body and liver, all the things we need to fight cancer. My recommendations are at least once a week, if you can afford it, 2 to 3 times a week. Please drink plenty of water as you're doing it afterwards to help flush your system out. But vitamin C infusions, the cancer absolutely hates it. The next thing I'd like to recommend is a procedure. It's called the HOCAT machine. So any wellness center in your state, in your town, and in most countries has one. It looks like a space age capsule. You lay in it, it comes across gently, and all that's sticking out is your head. What I love about it, it uses infrared lights as your body is inside and steam. So you're getting a double effect, which is more intensified than just using a sauna or just using a steam room. You're doing them together. It's getting rid of all those toxins through your skin, through the lymphatic system on an incredible level. So just as I mentioned before, and I'd like to just remind you, if you can, just gently do a lymphatic massage on yourself, and it's very easy to do. It would be great because as you go in the machine, it's going to help the lymphatic system pour these toxins out. And that's what we want so our cells can go back to health. Also, it uses ozone. Ozone helps to bring oxygen into your cells, into your tissues, into your body. Cancer hates oxygen. It lives in low oxygenated states. So this machine I recommend highly. So please use it and you will see great results. I would like to recommend for the vitamin C and HOCAT, Infinity IV and Wellness on the Gold Coast. The reason why I'm recommending them is because I got to know through my own personal journey, my partner, she unfortunately, when we were overseas, received a brain trauma injury. So we used one of her machines in there. That plus other things that I used on her, we were able to fix the brain trauma injury very quickly, and the symptoms subsided very quickly for my partner, which was great because she was not in the best condition. This is why I recommend the company. While I was there, I got to talk to the owner. Her name is Tash. She is a very loving and caring individual who loves people, and she opened the wellness center to help people from all sorts of things and issues so they can become better. So her heart and her mind's in the right place. Her machines are state of the art, and that's why I would recommend, because I've been there and I know the care her and her team put into it for the IV vitamin C infusion, but also the HOCAT machine. And she also has a list of other wellness machines there that could be of benefit to you, and you could speak to Tash. This is why I recommend her. The two next great hitters I'd love to recommend that fall under the same category are mebendazole, fenbendazole. I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on the history of it. Mebendazole is actually the first product created. It was created for humans. What does it do? It gets rid of parasites in humans. The second one is fenbendazole. It was created for animals, and it was a dewormer. What they both have in common is that they starve cancer cells by stopping the sugar uptake. They tell the cancer cell to self-destruct, and they stop the cells multiplying. What an incredible product. And what I love about this is that it has a long history of being safe for people and for animals. And also, I just like to share a story. I met this individual I would say 2 years ago, and we became friends, and he had a conversation with me, and it was quite serious, and it was heavy on his heart. And he said years before I met him, his wife got cancer, and it was a brain tumour. And obviously I didn't know, and I was thinking possibly she might not be there anymore. He goes, no, he goes, all good, she's still here. And I went, oh, that's good. He goes, I'll tell you what happened. So we went down the route of the medical field. For whatever reasons, it couldn't be treated, it got worse, and there was nothing they could do, and they couldn't operate upon it, and it was a decent size in her brain. So then he heard about this product, and that's how I got to know about this incredible product, which now I'm sharing with you, is that he took the fenbendazole, which is for animals. He got it from a pet supply company. He gave it to his wife in the recommended dosages that he found protocols himself through the internet. And with under a year, 6 months to a year, when they kept doing the scans, and especially from the 6 to 9 month period, they did scans. The surgeons obviously just wanted to know what's going on, even though they couldn't do anything. But the tumour had completely gone. And years upon years later, she is still safely with him, and they're deeply in love. And also, she lives on the principle, so does he, of detoxifying and watching what you take in around you, food and water, but also emotions and negative people and environment, and also just loving Mother Earth, having that connection with her. And they're both very healthy. And then I thought it was the end of the story, and he goes, oh no, I got another great story. And I went, okay. And the next story was 1 to 2 years after this, his gardener of 10 years plus got cancer, and he was diagnosed with a stomach cancer, and he had been given 6 months or less to live. So obviously this individual said, hey, this worked on my wife, as you know, would you consider taking it? So he did, and he took it, and 10 years later, this man is living healthy. He has moved to Thailand, where he always wanted to, and living a great life. These are two incredible success stories. There are many, many others like it. I will be adding them to the show notes so you can have a look at individuals with their success stories, doctors working successfully on their patients, and people working on their fur babies with great success. I truly recommend this product. I also did it for my own sake, because I like to take all the things I suggest, because I don't just want to suggest things, and I never tried it, don't know how it really feels upon my own body. So I took it for a month. I didn't have cancer, but I took it at the recommended dosages for a month just to see how I'd feel. I was fine. There was no discomfort. I had no reactions. So it worked incredibly well. So I would truly recommend mebendazole or fenbendazole. It is cheap, it is great, it works. The next thing I'd like to recommend is another product I'm sure that many of you have heard of through the years, Ivermectin. And if I had a hat, I'd be taking it off. Ivermectin is one of those incredible products on this earth that is absolutely incredible. If you don't know about it, I'll give you a quick overview. It was created in 1970 by a doctor in Japan who founded that this incredible product. He found it in the soil at a golf course. And obviously he pulled up the soil and started running some analogy tests and so forth. And then he worked with an American doctor, and they created it into the incredible antibiotic that we know today as Ivermectin. They also in 2015 together won the Nobel Prize for creating such a life-changing medicine for the all planet for us to enjoy. So incredible individuals. It's not just an antibiotic. It has had great success, and clinical studies, which I will put in show notes, to absolutely disrupt cancer signals on massive levels and shrink tumours, but also to enhance our own immune system so greatly that it sparks anti-T cells to go and attack it and destroy it. So this is why I would truly recommend Ivermectin, and it also works incredibly well with the previous things I've just suggested in the talk, fenbendazole and fenbendazole. The two together is kind of like, and this might be a little bit old school, Tango and Cash. Tango, Cash. Or Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rambo, and Jean-Claude Van Damme, all combined into one. I would truly recommend them combined. Their incredible togetherness, anti-cancer properties is remarkable, and Ivermectin has also had a long history of proven to be safe. So please put this in your itinerary, Ivermectin. The next products I'd love to recommend are C60. If you've never heard of it, C60 is something that all people should know about. It's kind of not known, and it's kind of kept quiet due to not many companies producing it or producing it well. What is the role of C60? It's a natural substance. It's taken orally, and it's incredible. So once it enters your bloodstream and it goes to the cells, like a suckerfish, it just goes out and grabs itself onto the cancerous cells and sucks everything out of there, including debris that's built up through the years, and disposes it out of the body nice and quickly and safely. And the next thing I'd love to recommend is PQQ. And it's not a Pokemon, it's PQQ. And PQQ is another incredible natural product. It works by helping the mitochondria work more efficiently, but also, obviously, if you have cancer, the signaling in your brain has already started to produce more cancerous cells. So it stops that signal. It says to the brain, no more, let's stop it. But also, it goes and attacks the cancer cells themselves and stops them multiplying. But another great thing it does, it whispers to it strongly, it's time for you to abort and do what you're supposed to do, kill yourself and get out of here. This is why I recommend PQQ and C60. I also strongly recommend, because I've used their products on myself, I've used it on people I've worked with for different ailments and seen incredible results with my own eyes. And also I've done the research. It's Global Healing by Dr. Group. It's an American company. He has different distributors around the world, UK and one in Australia. The one in Australia is called Sage Wellbeing. I recommend his products because they are organic certified. He grabs only the finest products to make all of his ingredients. And if he can't get it, that particular brand, or let's say PQQ for a little while, it comes off the shelf. He doesn't compromise. He just says unavailable at the moment because we can't get this certain compound to make it. Not many people do that. They will just use some different filler or get it from somewhere else and just keep it going. Another thing they use, and not many people have heard of it, it's vibrational energy. And some of you might go out there who don't understand it. Oh my goodness, vibrational energy. What is this? Vibrational energy has been around for a very, very long time. And the Incans and the Mayans used it. So what is it in a basic form? Have you ever heard of the Japanese tests of a Japanese doctor who water tests? So if you get water and you just speak to it harshly and you put it under a microscope, you will actually see it negatively affect the water with your own eyes. But if you speak kindly to it, it's like snowflakes. It's like being in a world of beauty. So Can you dispute it and go, it doesn't exist? It exists just from our word and just our mouth speaking it. So Dr. Group has spent over a decade producing vibrational energy machine to enhance the quality of his products. So then when they go in your body, they do their job at an even better rate. This is why I recommend this company. So please consider these two incredible products. Just wanted to include a personal experience of my own. I would say it would be in between 5 to 7 years ago. I had some bloods taken just to see, how everything's going and so forth. And then I went back to get results, and the doctor just looks at me and goes, "You've got prostate cancer." And I was going, but back then I didn't understand the things I understood now. So what I'm trying to say is, it was at that time because I had no understanding, and I only understand the things that have been told through society, through social media, through commercials. It was terrifying to know that there was a ticking time bomb inside of me, and I was absolutely helpless to do anything. And I was looking at them as my savior. Short story, he sent me out of the room. I don't know why, because he had to see another patient, even though we did run over the first appointment. But anyway, I went out. I was out there thinking a million things. What's going to happen? What treatment am I going to use? Am I going to beat this? How long have I got to live? And then finally went back in, and he said, I've looked at your blood tests because you had this recently. This is why the marker has gone up. You don't actually have cancer. So obviously I felt great relief, but I do understand what it's like, and through seeing friends who have been diagnosed with cancer and friends, families who have been diagnosed with cancer, when you don't know anything, it is the most terrifying thing. And to feel that something inside of you could actually take your own life, and it's inside your own body, is the most terrifying thing ever. So I do relate to anyone out there who has cancer, because just that news alone, even though I didn't go through it, was the biggest shock I've ever received. But what I'm concluding, I'm hoping that this talk will now help you see things in a whole different light. And by natural medicines and alternative medicines, which are the same, because it's not put on social media, you have to really look into these avenues. There are so many alternate doctors who have had 100, 50, 150, 200 over a year or years of success, one after another. So it's not like one and then 200 died and then I got another success. It's just success after success after success. So I hope that this brings you great hope, helps you not to feel as a victim. And when you hear those words, if you have to hear those words, and I hope no one ever does hear those words, you have got cancer, please don't drop to the bottom of the floor and let your heart sink. May this information go into you, go, I know what to do now. I am not going to die, as they always suggest that you've got 6 months to a year to live. And to put that on a human being is cruel, and you're already predetermining that they're going to die. So that puts it in their mind, there's a good chance I'm not going to beat this, I've only got a year left. And that kind of thinking alone and the fear will help the cancer to destroy you. So please, if you are diagnosed or have been diagnosed, may this information really bring you hope. It can be won. It can be won with great victory. And also, I'd like to put out there that obviously myself and anyone, we're thinking of you, and our thoughts and our prayers are with you, and you will beat this. So this is what I just wanted to put to you. You are loved, and the odds now are greater than ever. I'd just like to wrap up this talk and just leave you with something to think about as we're just about to finish this talk. So I'd like to bring an illustration, and please bear with me because it does have relevance, even though at the beginning it might seem a little bit different. So a male and female. A male obviously has sperm and a woman has eggs. When you look under a microscope at a sperm swimming, it emits a light. It actually has light as it's radiating through trying to find the egg. It lights up everything in its path. So you go and you've got to go, and that's amazing. You go, wow. And also its main role is to, as it joins up with the egg, is to determine the sex, male or female. That is a big portion. Got to give it to it. Now let's go to the egg. The egg under a microscope is literally in darkness. It looks like nothing much is happening. Darkness. And then obviously as the sperm hits the egg, even the egg itself lights up. So what has this all got to do with itself? So let's have a look at the sperm and think of the sperm. And we're all thinking of it at the moment because of its role, how incredible it is. It lights up the way, so all the darkness around us, it's making a light as it's making way to the egg, and the egg's just sitting there patiently in darkness, not doing much to a certain degree, and it hits the egg and boom. What if these last 50, 60, 70 years, through billions and billions of dollars, that specialists and doctors and the fourth are always looking at the sperm. Sperm's awesome. Sperm. It's going, it makes light, the sperm. And the little old egg over here, it's just the egg. But they're both in front of us. What happens if they've been looking the whole time at the sperm, and the sperm, to what we understand these days, where everything has been always going with no results, is the cell, the DNA, genetics. Genetics is to blame. Genetics is to blame. We're watching. 50, 60, 70 years later, billions of dollars. We've still got no success, but we're going to crack it. What happens if the egg, all alone and in the darkness, has been the medium around the cell that works with the environment, that outlays the outcome for the cell and for the sperm? But they're not looking at it because it's just not that pretty. Doesn't make any sense, really. But it's been sitting under their noses this whole time. The water. The water is a life bearer. Do you know the probabilities of water alone when it's running harmonious with any good thing it connects with? It's infinite. Absolutely, the water in your body, when it's running well, has a connection with all of your life force in you to infinity. But we're still focused on the cell, the DNA, and especially the genetics. The genetics is causing it. I think they've been looking in the bushes, and looking in that area and looking just in one particular area, because that area doesn't have, the bushes aren't so high and it's easy. I can get in there. And the bystander who's always stood back after time's just gone, can I help you guys? What are you looking for? I'm looking for keys. Oh, okay. Can I ask why you're looking over there? Oh, well, it's really thick over there and there's some bushes and there's some thorns and oh, I don't really want to go into that area. It's much easier just staying here. And he's like, okay, but I actually witnessed all this. And you've got to be looking in the high grass. So this is just what I'd like to leave with you guys. I hope this talk was very informative, and now you can see things in a beautiful light and not be scared by cancer anymore, and understand your body is absolutely wonderful. And I'd also like to let you know, you are a creator. Just this planet and its teachings and the system, it's always dumbed us down. You need this. You need this to be better. You need that to be better. You're not good enough if you don't have this. I'm letting you know that you are creators, and you can create anything in your life, and especially in your own body, if you just have understanding, knowledge, the willpower which you do have, and love. So I'll leave this with you. Thank you so much for listening to my talk. It's been a pleasure being with you guys. See you next time.